Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the viewers. I welcome you all to the today's webinar, Shaurya Gatha. Today we have with us a very special guest. We have with us Wing Commander Vinod Nair, sir, a decorated war veteran of 65 and 71 war. Wing Commander Vinod Nair, sir, Veer Chakra and Bar. In both the wars, he has shot down the advanced Pakistani saber jet with his World War vintage Hunter jets. Today, we will know from him about the war, his posting, the task given to him, and how he accomplished the target. The reason for all-out war between India and Pakistan, what forced Indian Army to intrude into, and what does he see in India-Bangladesh relationship from now on, or in last 30 years. As you all know, that we have done a Shaurya Gatha event with 10 war veterans of 71 war a month ago. But later we realized due to shortage of time, we couldn't cover each and every story which has a different impact respectively. Hence, we have decided to do this one-on-one interview with each of the war veteran so that the impact can be largely felt without having to look at the constraints of time. So after Sajjad sir, this is our second interview with Wing Commander Vinod Nair, sir. Sir, we welcome you, sir. A very good evening, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
So, sir, without wasting any time, I'll just pass on the baton to you. We would like to know the background of the war, the situation, what was there from March to December, uh, when, at what point of time, Indian Armed Forces decided to intrude in, and what was the condition of East Pakistanis, and the atrocities about the West Pakistani which they have done on East Pakistanis, and also your task, your posting, how you accomplish your target, and in one of our personal discussion we had discussed about how you were about to kill Niazi almost in one of the operation. We would like you to tell and inform our viewers that what all you were told to do and how you have accomplished. Over to you, sir.
Right. Thank you, Ankit, very much. All right. Viewers, good evening to you. I would start first with my own very life that in 1965, first war which I fought, I was just 22 years old. And that time there was a fear of unknown, which obviously I guess when you get into war for the first time, you have that feeling. I had that also. But however, we got over it. But when it came to 71, the fear of unknown was not there. On the contrary, we were just waiting because it got prolonged so long. It all started way back in March, April, that we would have a power with Pakistan here. But it kept dragging and dragging, it carried on. And of course, we were helping Bangladeshi people there because the East Pakistan was creating havoc in all the Bengali citizens of now Bangladesh and that time East Pakistan. In fact, the people got fed up and they were migrating from there, leaving that country and coming to our India, our country, which of course was weighing a toll on our government and our people there. So then Madam Indira Gandhi was in the helm affair. She says this, we have to sort this out once for all. We can't carry on with this forever. So she did call the army chief and asked him, Sam, and a discussion we just carried on with him for a long time. And initially she wanted to attack then and there. So, but Sam being very army person and he know battle hardened, he knows exactly what is needed for the army and for the armed forces to make a win. So when Sam was talking to Madam, and it just carried on, and he says, "Well, ma'am, if you ask me to go to war today, I can guarantee you definitely a failure." She was shocked to hear this from him, but however, he says, "You just leave the choose. Let me choose the time and frame, and I guarantee you a win." So this is how the whole thing worked out between the army chief and then the Madam Prime Minister. Anyway, this is the background to the thing. But the fact is that a lot of Bengalis were coming into our country, and it was not acceptable because the people, local people, were feeling the weight of this because they were migrating into that area. So it was mandatory for a country like India to take on with the Pakistan and stop it once for all and hand over that land where rightfully it belongs to the Bengalis. So we were waiting. We didn't know the date, but finally on the 3rd of December, when Pakistan struck in the Western Theatre, we knew, because it was all on the radio, we knew that next morning we will be attacking East Pakistan. Sure enough, I was in 17 Squadron, the Golden Arrow, which has now been converted into Rafale, the new fighter which has come the India's pride. So this was my squadron at Hashimara at that point of time, and we were there. We were tasked. Task was known well before that when the balloon goes up, what we need to do. So it was decided that the first formation will go from 37 Squadron, which is the Panther, and the next formation will go from the Golden Arrows. That's my squadron. And sure enough, first they went, and 5 minutes late, they went and struck Tezgaon, and we were to strike Kurmitola. So 5 minutes later, we got off from Hashimara, and as we reached IP, at that point of time, I must explain how it goes. We were in a broad frontage formation. Now you'll have to a bit of imagination. You people have to do as I explained because words are never enough. As the depiction can do a better job. But however, I was my leader was on the right, and then behind him, about 250 yards on the right side, was his number two, was Flying Officer Baines, and I was the deputy leader on the Lele's left, about 1,000 yards plus, and behind me, 250 yards, was Flying Officer Bajwa. So this is the formation of four aircraft which was going to attack Kurmitola. So this is when we reach the point called IP initial point where we run in. And at that point where we run in, we align ourselves, we work out how we're going to get into attack, etc. I spotted two hunters returning, and behind the hunter there were three sabers. So when sabers, or probably us and we saw sabers together at the same time, the sabers left those two hunters and turned into us, and we turned into them to engage each other. Now this was the combat which ensued at that point of time, and during the combat, I was very happy that we got something which we can sure get a kill, and now we can see it because the war. When if you can spot your enemy, 50% of war is won by you, and the later 50 is your maneuvering which you do in your life. So in this, that three aircraft they turned into us, and my formation also I ordered the turn and went to my leader, that's Lele and Baines, and crossed over. When I crossed over, then they were behind me, and I engaged these three aircraft. But one of the aircraft from the Sabres, which got behind Flying Officer Baines, and he shot at him. When he shot at him, I saw that, and I realized that there is some kind of a smoke is coming out. So I asked him to eject. Moment I saw that the smoke was not black, it was bluish, I realized it is not the aircraft is hit, his tank is hit and his fuel is leaking. So I told him, I punch your tank, check your fuel and take a decision. So he said, yes, the fuels are crossed and my tanks have been hit. I say, all right, disengage and you go back to base. So that was for Baines. Now the two of us, we were there, and these three aircraft which we engaged, we were gaining on them. I had positioned myself behind one chap after doing a couple of scissors with a fellow. Scissors, we do a combat maneuver, it's called scissors. So I did a couple of scissors with him, and he was doing in a horizontal plane, and I was doing in a vertical plane because I was better off in doing that kind of maneuver with the sabers. So I was gaining on him. After about three, four maneuvers, I got into an advantageous position where I could uh, consider opening a shot. At that point of time, as luck would have it, I got my fire warning light on. Now, the fire warning light on comes on, that means that your engine could get into a bad situation, we can catch a fire, etc. So, the emergency response of a pilot is you're supposed to throttle right back, means bring your power to idle position. And when you bring it to idle position, can you imagine where you need every inch of a pound of thrust which you can generate, but here you have to come to idling RPM. Now, when I did that, whatever advantage position I had gained on the saber, I was started to lose the whole thing. Now, the option I had, this chap has maneuvered, is now from the my being on the advantage position, he has gotten into the advantage position. Now, that was a horrible situation for me. So I said, the only answer I have is either get shot by this guy or get blown in my own cockpit. I chose the latter, that get blown in your own cockpit. So I opened full power, regardless of the procedure. Now, because I wanted to get the aircraft, not get shot by him. Now, while maneuvering, at the same time, I must surprise you, the fuel is a lifeline. If your engine is not working, if the fuel is not coming, you are having a serious issue with you. Now, this combat was happening 180 nautical miles from my base. Now, can you imagine? It's almost 360 odd kilometers. I'm having a combat. I have to get back. But the fuel was not good enough to carry on with the combat. At the same time, I had to disengage myself in a position where I can get out. So what I did was the aircraft, which was in a maneuver, a yo-yo maneuver, who was coming from a top position, I went for him. I said, let me pose that as if I'm going to collide with him. Now, this is the situation which I created for that pilot. He was descending and I was climbing. He really thought I'm gone out of my head. I'm mad. So this aircraft, I was not going to hit him in any case. Sure, I was very clear on that. But I positioned such a way that he had to maneuver away from the turn. So he broke the turn and turned away from me. As he turned away, all I was required to do was just a wing over behind him. And I got into position from a disadvantage to a very great advantage position and got a pot shot on him after a few seconds. And he was done. After he was done, I said, now I must get back at any cost because my bingo light had come on. And that means the fuel is near starvation and you're going to have a flame out. So what I did was, there's a place called Rupsi in our area. So I went to that airfield first. I said, should I have a problem? I might as well land at Rupsi rather than if I don't make it Hashimara. So Rupsi, I called up my base, Hashimara, and asked him any traffic because I need to come in direct and land. So he says there is one aircraft that is Benz who's having a USASI procedure and he should be landing any moment. Fine, I knew he would land. So what I did was I set course from Rupsi. I said I'll make direct approach and landing. He cleared me. I came in. I touched down. God willing, everything was great. I went into a dispersal where we normally switch off. As I was rolling in on the final turn to stop the aircraft, my engine flamed out. It was just by the tender foreskin that I survived. And this flame out, if it had happened in the air, we would have lost the aircraft. So this is how it happened on the very first day. Now, I have many stories to tell, but I think it'd be nicer that you ask something different because this was a great achievement for us because thereafter we moved on from here. My formation was asked to attack that place, now the attack place down, and then go and land at Kumbhikram, and thereafter operate from Kumbhikram. So the balance portion of the after 4th, I operated from Kumbhikram till the 12th of December. I was operating in Kumbhgram. I can tell you the story about that if the time permits. Is the time there with you? So I will continue with that.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please,
Yeah.
sir. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
sir.
Now there are a few episodes I think which people should know, which happened from Kumbhgram. One was the main operation, which was around Sylhet, Komila, and Burkle, and that area, Chittagong tracks, Manmari. This is how we. This is the area which normally we've been striking. Komila, we have been the most important one, which we have been control, rather attacking most of the time. Now I will tell you about the one attack which we carried out the very first. It was probably the I don't remember the date. I think it was 6th, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was the evening. We had gone to attack Pomila, and we were told that you can take Nats as your escort. I said, no, there's no need for us to carry Nats with us. We are good enough. So we four, again, the same formation, 4 aircraft. We went and we told my leader, Lele and Baines, that you strike first. And when you strike, and we will give you a cap on top. And after you finish the strike, then you cover us and we will carry on the attack. That was the understanding. Now, when they finish the attack, I get a call from them that our fuel is low. We would like to go back. I said, no problem. I told Bajwa, I said, look, Bajwa, get 180 to me. 180 means the opposite to me in a circle. You'll have to visualize all this a little bit. So the target is in the center. I'm on one side, he's on the other side, and we're in a kind of a circle covering each other's tail. So when I get into attack, he was to look after me. And when he's attacking, I was to look after his tail. This is the understanding we had. So as I was getting into the first attack itself, Bajwa called her brother Saber. So I knew at that time I had to do a one muzzleless uh, left hard turn, and I rolled diving position, and I rolled out in 045 direction like I want to get away from there because I had not seen the enemy. It is my other person opposite to me. He saw it. You'll not believe it. As I rolled out on 045 direction to get away, the air was one aircraft right above me, so close that he dropped his two tanks. When he dropped his two tanks, I had to put on bank to avoid those tanks. I was so close. You can imagine what I'm trying to say. And for a split second, I realized, oh my God, we are carrying 4 tanks. This guy's got only 2 tanks. This is Saber. But by then, the unfortunate lot of delay had already had happened, and I couldn't get it. This is another kill which I missed out very easily. Can you imagine? 50 yards ahead of me. All I needed to was just pull up my aircraft and get behind him and shoot him. But however, it was his day to live and fight for whatever it may be worth. But I lost it. The important thing which here in near Komila was one of the armory or armament depot of theirs. Now, there are two strikes which are very important in Komila. One was the fuel dump and one was the ammo dump. Now, fuel dump, can you imagine, against all UN convention, where we are not supposed to strike anything which is painted red, cross on it. And here was a big rubberized tank in the area which is marked with a red cross. I thought it was a hospital. The guy, my FAC is telling me, sir, that's the target. I said, are you sure it's marked with a red cross? He said, I'm 100%. Please go ahead and attack it. And sure enough, against all my conviction, I said, all right, I'll strike. And sure enough, when I struck that, my God, what a bomb explosion it had. The fuel caught fire immense, and it came up almost to my height in fire. So that was a big loss to the Pakistani army that time. They must have lost a lot of fuel. The another one was the opposite the railway station. There was a blacktop building. Now, when the GLO explains the target for us, because we always thought the army guy can never give us the good target position because he doesn't have the concept of looking at from the aerial side. However, this time he was very clear. He said, opposite to the railway station, 400 yards or so, there is a blacktop building. Now, it was so easy for me to recognize. Sure enough, we went there. We saw a building, which was a blacktop building, and we fired our rockets on it. When we fired our rockets, all happened was there was a massive gaping hole and nothing caught fire. I didn't have Diwali. Normally, when you fire a ammo dump, you should have Diwali, but it didn't happen. So I thought something has gone wrong. So we were orbiting. We had the guns with us. I said maybe the target we got is wrong. Then I was looking on the opposite side, and sure enough, I saw another building, but not 500. It was a little further away. There was another blacktop building, and I was looking for any ventilator because I was left with 30 gun. Gun cannot penetrate the concrete. So I was looking for a ventilator line. Normally the ammo dump they have this kind of thing. So if I had seen any opening, I would have hoping like hell that my one of the rounds will get in and do the rest of the job. Sure enough, here I got a chance to. I opened a fire from about 1,000 yard plus and carried on with a heavy burst onto the to the one of the ventilator area. And sure enough, a few rounds went in, and there was a massive explosion. So the job was done. This was a good achievement. And another one I can tell you about is Berkel. There was two targets on a hilltop. Now there's a one river which comes from northeast side. It goes south of the hill and then turns on to the southwest and joins the sea area. Now here, the two hillocks which are there, they were the gun position. The brigade was having a big issue of crossing that objective of theirs. So they requested for a strike. We did that. So we struck, and the gun position neutralizing with the rocket was a piece of cake, which we did. Lele and self, we both were there. So we neutralized that. Then we were left with a lot of rounds because aircraft always loaded with the front gun also. So we saw a lot of barracks on the eastern side of the hill. So I said, all right, we will do some attack here and destroy these bunkers or barracks, whatever they got. So we strapped the entire hillside, and a lot of things got damaged there. And it was a good sortie, good achievement. But later on, one story which comes along, which is yet to be confirmed, because it was passed on by the person on the ground. I got to know much later. I didn't know at that time. Now the person says, "Sir, would you like to know that when you did this strapping, you missed one major?" Now, it made no sense. Missing a major makes no difference. There are many people survive, many people die. So he said, "Sir, the major was, if I give you the name today, you will be shocked." I said, "All right, go ahead. What is it?" He said, "It is Major Musharraf." I said, "Was he in part of combat? It was war?" He said, "Not at all. He was not the part of the war. He was the ISI person, and he was uprising the Nagas against India and all that. He was on that mission, nothing to do with the war." Okay, so he survived. So I said, "All right. So let's. I hope the general can confirm whether he was there or not. It'll be a great honor for me to know that if this is true or it is somebody's imagination." Anyway, so this was another good sortie, good achievement of ours. And the one I like to mention is, 10th of December is our wedding anniversary. So that I'm at a different place. The wife and children were at Hashimara. So what we used to do, we service the aircraft was being serviced. We used to take it to Hashimara, and overnight they would service the aircraft. You bring it back to Kumbigram and fly out. So this was planned, but however, my aircraft did not start on the 10th, which was due for servicing. It had a failure of start. So what I did was, next day, I got another aircraft. No, second day, sorry, on 12th. I got another aircraft due for servicing, took it to Hashimara, And there my CO tells me that you can stay back and continue to operate because everything is over now. Now we stayed back, and I was operating from now back on Hashimara. So it took off from Hashimara for one of the support of the army north of Dhaka. I forget the place which was striking. So I saw on the return, I saw one aircraft which was water-looking aircraft. It had no doors, it had no marking, it was grey color. So I was not knowing whether it is our own aircraft, Mukti Bahini aircraft, or is it Group Captain Chandan Singh, is he flying and whatever. So I tried to contact people and ask them if anybody can give you more information about this aircraft. Didn't get it. So I asked my number two, Rana was Randy. I said, Randy, what should I do? He said, Sir Chabajo. Young blood always tells you, take him on. But somehow I was not keen because had it been a Chandan Singh or somebody, I would have been, or a Mukti Vaini guy, I would have been horrified having shot him down. So I left him alone. I was told some story, but of course, in uh, Colonel Saab from Sajad, he confirmed to me last time when I met him that it wasn't General Niazi as the story was going around. So we will leave it to that and believe him. What he says is correct. Said it wasn't General Niazi who got away. It is one aircraft got away. Maybe it was our own. So be it that way. So these are the few stories which I've collected, and when I carried out about 28 odd sorties with against Pakistan. But one thing very interesting, I think, what the audience should know, or rather let AVM Bishnoi tell the story himself, would be a better one. I rather not encroach in his area, but that was a very pride story for the IAF because that was the story would tell you which broke the camel's back. Very important one. But anyway, I leave it for him to cover the story. So Ankit, anything more you would like me to tell?
Yes, now we'll take some question answers. Thank you so much for your wonderful description of the war. So, sir, my question is Hunter versus Saber. You have done it on two occasions.
Yeah.
Would have been an underdog situation. How did you cope with the monumental difference between the two?
Let me tell you, there's no doubt Sabre maneuvers beautifully. It got slat system and all that. It's a Korean proven aircraft. It has been established in the Korean War that it is an amazing F-86 aircraft. It is, no doubt. So I think what matters most is aircraft machine does matter, but I think the person who's in the cockpit also matters a lot. I'm not praising myself, but it is your own. See, kind of training what the IAF gives you is amazing. So anybody in my cockpit would have done exactly the same thing what I did. There's no difference. Yes, in 65 I was a little bit shaky, but not very shaky because I wanted to take part. Yeah, having come in uniform, and if you haven't fought a war, you really wasted your time, in my opinion. But however, many may differ with it. So I'm lucky that I got a chance in 65 as well as in 71, though I was heartened and well established and very confident of taking on anything, anytime. So this is how the story been. So what matters is how well you are trained to handle the machine which is given to you. Every machine performs. Yes, in today's scenario where you have BVR, etc., it may not work at all because you will never get to see your enemy. As I always said, when you see your enemy, 50% of war is won. The battle is won. So in today's scenario with the hunter, I may not even see my target. So I would lose it. But otherwise, if I see my enemy, I'm happy to take on with my hunter anytime.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. There is one question from one of my friend in Pakistan, and he's asking for this question, sir. That
Yeah.
was the military action from our side was inevitable, and what he's asking in Urdu that अगर भारत बड़ा दिल दिखा के मसालियत कराने की कोशिश करता तो सिचुएशन जो थी वो थोड़ा बिना मतलब पाकिस्तान को 2 लाख किए सिचुएशन को हैंडल किया जा सकता। What was the reason that we finally, left with this option that we have to now? It's now uh, so much water
It
has.
was, well,
So,
this gentleman, I don't know his age, who asked this
hmm,
question. The point is this: he should ask the 90,000 which we returned. He should contact one of them, and he will tell them our story. All right. But however, for his satisfaction, I will answer right now. You see, the East Pakistan Army did not treat the local population the way they should have been treated. That was the prime reason they were mistreated. They were, I mean, I don't want to use those words. People have said that they should have been tried by the court for the kind of behavior they had in the international law, etc. But however, I'm not getting there. The point is this: when you don't treat the locals where you live, where you survive yourself, you do your job, how can you be, I mean, call yourself a soldier? Soldiers don't do such things.
right, sir. Right. Thank you so much. Uh, Vitalbia, can you pass the mic to Rajiv? He has few questions to ask from Wing Commander Nab, sir. Rajiv.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
No, Rajiv, I can hear you.
Yes, hi, sir. Good evening. I'm so sorry. My apologies. I just came back from work, and if you can just give me just 2 minutes to settle down, I'll get back to you with my question. Just give me two
Okay.
minutes to settle down, please. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, so this is Vital here, and I've got some different question because I belong to a place called Kashmir, which has been center of all the military attractions, and so as a Kashmiri Hindu, I want to thank you for saving that territory and saving us time and again, and for the sacrifices that Indian armed forces, have made. Indian security agencies have made there. My question is very specific to the latest happenings. Like there has been a lot of talk about Rafales, which are being added to Indian Air Force, and it will give us more teeth and all that. What is your opinion on that, and what is your opinion? And then I'll have my secondary question, supplementary question to that after that.
Thank you. Kashmir is part of India, and the Indian armed forces of the country, India, this first. So there's nothing specific Kashmir. Any inch of us, we would fight for.
I see.
Right. Now, talking about Rafale. Rafale is a fourth plus generation aircraft, the kind of weapon which is it's got. It's not fifth generation, it's fourth generation, more above. A little bit of avionics are a little more superior, so I'll say four and a half. And plus, the kind of weapon which they have given us with it is amazing, and it will perform very well. But to say that we can do magic work with few numbers, that is would be wrong in place. So yes, if we get all what we needed, the numbers which we have been ordered, yes, it will be a force to reckon with. Everybody will have to sit up in their chairs and think twice before they do anything. And especially when we get the SA 400 also. So then I think we are seeing pretty good. Very happy with the situation. We can deal,
Uh,
we can deal with China when we have all this in place.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. One more question, sir. I mean, if you remember, it was Nitin and me, sorry, Ankit and me who sat for the hunger strike regarding during OROP in 2013. I remember the date. That was the only time I sat on a hunger strike. So so. And how do you see that objective of OROP fulfilling in near future with the present dispensation? And what is your opinion on the way they have fulfilled some part of it or whatever part of it?
Uh, Unfortunately, today, as the scene stands, the case is in the Supreme Court, and the date will have been given is 24th, so it's not very far. But what was told to the MOD by the government, by the court, I don't think they paid much heed to that either. But where the court has said very clearly before we go ahead with it, you rethink about it, discuss the pros and cons, etc., with people those who are demanding the real fee before we pass the order. But the government has not done it, so we don't know what they wish to do with it. I really don't understand for what reason it has got stuck. People have, I think, this is a trick or whatever I call it. Babus have played it. So I would blame more than the political masters. It is, you see, everything happens in the country is done by the Babus. The file basically is moved by him. And what he puts down, and some people have the gall to say no. Some people have no gall to say anything. Just get on, get along with it. So I think this is where the problem is. The kind of noting which has been made and forwarded, it does not give them the correct picture, and this is how they feel their dilly dally. Whereas Mr. Parikar was very clear when he had cleared it, came to us, and we were grateful to him for having understood and worked out the cost. Because he also has a finance department. They worked out the cost. Having worked out the cost when it comes to the Ministry of Finance, where Jyotisa was there, and he didn't like it. There are many other reasons to talk about it. However, he didn't approve of it, and this is how it got stuck. And this is in a limbo. Even so even Reddy Saab, the Reddy committee, which was there, one which went into a detail, this has not been made public. Obviously, everything is in our favor. So government is one lie is trying to cover up with many other lies and denying us because of the effort so that we have given it. So how can they change that? That is the issue.
Thank you. I have got one last question before I pass it on to Rajiv. I'm sorry for being very greedy here and asking you a lot of questions.
Repeat the question.
I said that I'm being very greedy and I have one more
I
question.
can't get it. Just 1 second. I think there's something gone wrong. Yeah, sorry.
Right, sir.
Constant ring was coming on the call. Can
Okay.
you speak? Repeat your question.
Yes, sir. I said that I'm sorry for being greedy. Asking you one more question.
I'm not getting you here. Sorry, I'm not getting you.
I think there's some problem. I'll let Rajiv to it and let Rajiv take on the question and I'll come back. Rajiv, over to you.
Thank you, Ricky. Wing Commander, sir, am I audible to you?
Unfortunately, there are another call which has come on this and it's made my volume go away. So I really don't know how to handle it.
Sir, might I suggest if you just log off and log in once again, that
Or
might
else
help
you
the
just
connection.
put on the headsets, earphones, if you can.
I think best will be if you log out and log in again. Let him come back.
Yeah.
Rajiv, you are going next, and then you will pass on to Ankit, right?
Sure.
And
We
then
are
I will
live.
pass on to you, and Surajji will come in between.
Yeah.
Suraj is
Okay.
about to.
Even right now we are live. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
So Tekit, I'm not very certain about your actual name, so I'm going to address by your username. I believe you have a remaining question that you wish to address. So I think it
Sir
would
is
better
back.
if you.
Sir is back. Sir is back.
Sir,
Yeah, if
yeah.
you connect me, I will answer. What is the question?
Hi, sir. Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are.
Fantastic. I said that I was saying that I am being very greedy, and I was supposed to ask you only two questions, and this is my third question, and this is a little
Sure.
personal one. Personal one in
Yeah.
the sense because I have asked it to many veterans, and every veteran I meet, I always ask them, and this is something for me, and I always ask them, sir, जब लड़ाई होती है तो डर लगता है, and I remember late Colonel Cole telling me कि अगर डर नहीं लगेगा तो जान नहीं बचेगी. तो just wanted to have that again the same question. Do you fear?
No, actually,
Is there any kind of fear?
no, very valid question, by the way. If a person says that he does not have the fear, he's telling a lie or he is a Gurkha. Okay. So fear is in its place, but thinking your objective, how to get about it, is soldiery. So to say that you have no head, you're robo. I mean, that's absurd. Okay. So yes, you're a human being, but you overcome your fear. You challenge yourself. You overcome your fear. Your determination takes you on. Let me tell you, the mind is the greatest. You believe in it. If your mind tells you, you will get it. And let me tell you also your earlier question of ROP, we will get it.
Absolutely, sir. There are certain things which are destined, and if you, I always have believed that if we are like honest to a cause, the cause is going to happen, and it is written in Srimad Bhagavad Gita ji also. We just have to do our karma. And with this note, I'll invite Rajiv, and I'll just get off from the panel, and Rajiv will take it over from here.
Wing Commander sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Great. So, sir, let me just begin with a very short preface that thank you for your immeasurable service. And there, being a son of a war veteran myself, I can attest to the fact that my heart goes out in a very good manner to all the veterans alive and the shaheed who have not only, you know, given the ultimate sacrifice to keep this country intact, but also helped us, split this banana republic called Pakistan into the middle in 1971. Right. So let me just begin my question, and it will be my. I have two questions with a follow-on question. My first question comes up with a very small preface that since 2014, since the onset of Modi government, Shri Narendra Modi's government, in fact, Honorable Prime Minister, pardon my words, we have experienced a wave of nationalism that has been, you know, absolutely unheard of and unseen of in the last couple of decades in India. Having said that, I am going to digress slightly, or rather a lot, from the nationalism wave and come to the realistic wave of the Indian Defence Forces paradigm. Currently, we have a requirement of 40 plus squadrons in the Indian Air Force. We are down to 28 or 30. My figures might be wrong. Pardon me for that. Having said that, we just received a batch of 5 Rafale aircrafts. Kudos to that, and congratulations to the Indian Air Force, to myself, and to all the Indians combined. However, 5 does not make a difference when it comes to the deficit that we are currently facing, realistically speaking. So, sir, how do you see the Make in India initiative set out by our current government, wherein they have also banned a certain amount of imports, the military imports? Do you think that we are currently that much self-reliant and that much technologically capable? Because HAL is a very tragic example. This HAL and Tejas, it's a tragic example. Let's not mince our words on this. Tejas is a tragic example of how, when wheels start to churn and they churn painfully slow, this is what we get in return. So, sir, do you really expect India to become a self-reliant defense behemoth? Or, okay, behemoth would might be an extent, but a self-reliant defense-enabled country in the next 10 years to 20 years?
No, it's good. You have asked too many questions in one question, but however, I'll try and address most of it.
Thank you.
The point is, what HAL and the self-reliance which has been started by the government. You see, one thing is there. HAL has been for a very, very long time in the country. Unfortunately, once again, it has been run by babus.
Yes.
That is the problem. It should have been run by the technocrats. Look at your ISRO. You understand?
Yes, sir.
How come all the other agencies, like which is the say doctors lobby, doctors body, whatever it's called, and ISRO and the other, wherever the Babu has gotten, it has rotted.
Yes.
Here, I knew it earlier. The Air Force Air Marshal used to be the boss. I remember last one was Valley Wallen. He was the chairman of HAL. Things were working. And I'm talking many, many years ago. And once it got into the hand of Babu, I'm sorry, even I don't think Shri Narendra Modi ji also knows how to handle these Babus. Okay, so this is a big issue that he has to work it out when he wants to take this country forward. I would say it openly that they are leading him up the garden paths, and so all good wishes of his, all thoughts about him cannot be fructified unless we have stemmed the babus correctly. And the right people have been put in the right places, then only we can take it forward. And otherwise, it'll just remain a pipe dream.
Absolutely, sir. And my apologies for the long question, which had multiple parts, but you gave the answer in the most precise possible way. That was just amazing. So,
Yeah.
sir, just continuing to my second question, which is slightly technical in nature. So, we have definitely we have been since 2014 again coming back to the golden age, so-called, quote unquote. We have been trying to not modernize the defense forces per se. We are not modernizing them. We are trying to supplement the deficits. Right. Having said that, so we have Sukhoi 30 from Russia, MiG 29 from Russia. We have Rafales from France. We are currently not going ahead, but in the process of possibly going ahead with F-21s from Lockheed Martin, US. Right. So my question is, sir, the data links possibility, the equipment talking to each other. Now we have S-400 coming in as surface to air defense systems. We have a crucial issue of NATO versus the Eastern Bloc. Now
Yeah.
the data link talking to each other. How are we going to manage this massive behemoth of an issue of Western equipment talking to the Eastern Bloc equipment, which is not going to happen. No matter Narendra Modi ji's diplomacy, no matter what we do, NATO will never let their source codes be open to the Russians. The Russians will never let their source code be open to the NATO people. So why is India not fixating itself on one particular brand of equipment, or rather equipment from one particular region where it can talk to each other? Because our submarines can't talk to our P8 Poseidons. Our aircraft Sukhoi 30 jammers, the Sukhoi 30 jammers and radars, they get conflicted within themselves because we have jammers from Israel, we have radars from the Russians. So
Right.
we have a massive conundrum on our hands, and this is something that really gives me sleepless nights most of the times.
Okay. You see, the technology is such a vast subject. It's amazing. Uh, I was attending one conference where the guys were discussing, and exactly the same thing I had in my mind. How will the equipment talk to each other? Is this initially when we got the computers, we got it from West. Then we wanted to get something from the Russian side, that block, and then we called a thing which is called interface,
Yes,
right? He says when we use the interface, and that did the sub job which we knew, and if you you are forgetting one thing, the entire technology in the West, in US, is run by all Indians.
yes,
He used that word. Now, that means the Indian brain, which is already here, we need to mop it up and get them under our fold in the country so that we develop something where this interface can be done, and we will achieve that. Why I'm trying to say that we have to have both the sides going at the same time without compromising each other's security. That'll be paramount, by the way, because there's something SA 400 which can guarantee you. There's something which from the other side the crews cannot.
yes.
So there are very something which is good here. There's something good on the other side. At the same time, when we take everything from the West, oh, they have hardened rules. You cannot modify this. You cannot do this. If you do this against, if you use your this target, we will withdraw this. I mean, they keep you on a tenterhook. You understand?
Yes,
When
sir.
the Pakistan lost the F-16, what happened? They denied we never used it because they were not allowed to use it. So they had to
Yes.
deny it. Whereas we found the RM missile portion
Abraham
lying in
Massoud.
our
Yes.
area. So they denied it. They are liars in any case. So what I'm trying to say is there would be a lot of restriction when we buy everything from the West. Whereas we would like to use both technology, learn from while we are making it. We will get some ideas, we will interface, we'll use something, and it will work. Let me assure you, it's going to work because people must have thought it beyond what we are thinking at our level.
Absolutely, sir. The only reason that I came up with this question was because during the 1980s war, Iran-Iraq war, Iran faced a similar issue because they were using F-14s from the US, and at the
Yeah.
same time they were using S-200s from the Russians, or other at the time Soviets. Soviet
Hmm.
Russian, they were at the brink of it all, and there was an article by one of our leading James Defense Journal writers, where he had mentioned categorically that Iran had lost a couple of F-14s because S-200s were not able to use the IFF feature accurately. Again, the conundrum between NATO and Eastern Bloc. That was the reason that I put forth this question.
You see, you're absolutely correct because the IFF again, using the word interface. All
Yes.
right, I'm banking on the technology which we can create. That's what all. So it will work, and we will manage this. I don't think it's going to be. It'll be an issue, but it'll not be such a big issue.
So if you don't mind, I just have one small follow-up question, just last question.
Yeah.
Uh, there has been talks in the last couple of months, very rudimentary talks in terms of very hush-hush tone talks, that India might be considering to talk to Israel regarding acquire F-35s. Right now, there have been certain so-called defense analysts, not the actual defense analysts, but civilian people, wearing that garb of defense analytics, and saying that if you buy F-35 from Israel, it's going to be better than F-35 from the US. But that doesn't matter because F-35 is F-35. It's a joint venture. So my question to you is that if India at all goes ahead at all, hypothetically speaking, if we agree to go ahead with the F-35 venture and agree to buy a couple of F-35s, how do you put that particular acquisition into the overall spectrum of Indian air defense?
If I had anything to do, I will not buy F-35. A, the cost is exorbitant,
Yes, sir.
and still it had some failures in his own electronic thing, which they are yet to fine tune it. Let me use that word. And on the other side, China side is also having massive issues with the J10, etc.
Yes, sir. J20s are also.
J20. They're having the tiles flying out. They're having the issues with the electronics also. They're having issues. So
They even have like ejection seat issues in their J20s.
yeah, they have issue with the engine also.
With the engine also, yes.
They got issue with the engine also. So let's not run away. Let's not jump into any conclusion. My answer, as of date, F-35 not to be bought.
Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and Jai Hind, sir. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jai Hind. And
Yeah. Any more?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so this question is from Neeraj Bhandari from Uttarakhand, Rishikesh. He's asking, sir,
Yeah.
we have read, heard, and seen a lot about IF Valor during 65 and 71 war. However, media is one thing and reality is another. How would you rate IF performance during these two wars in actuality?
IF went into the war To be very frank, and first time was 1965. Uh, we are the passive air defense. You must understand, you must draw the line between the two. The passive air defense and the other air defense and the other strike which he conducted. We were very weak in passive air defense. Okay. And that is why our losses on the ground were much more than what we should have had. In 65, I'm talking about, right? And otherwise, we have used it beautifully. The Air Force has done a wonderful job in the air and taking on the enemy target. We did a great job in 65 as well as in 71, both times. So, yes, in 65, we were quite weak in our passive air defense. We didn't have blast fans, etc., so on and so forth. We did not, we had the aircraft parked on the tarmac. There was something foolish which shouldn't have happened.
Right, sir. Now, there is one more question from Punjab, Santosh Kumar. He's asking when Niazi took over from Major General Khadim Raza as the Eastern Command chief, he used to boast about his army. He used to boast about his bravery because he was also a Victoria Cross in 44 or 45 when he was a part of Indian military, British Indian Army. So he used to say, I can fight 1,000 days war with India, and I can do this, I can do that. So point is कि you as a Indian Armed Forces personnel, what happened in 13 days when if you take out the if you read from the books of many Pakistani historians, they have even mentioned whenever the Governor Malik used to call Niazi at his office to take a brief about the war, he used to cry, he used to weep. So, what happened in these 13 days, or did you expect that you will be able to do the damage what you have done to the forces in 13 days? Did you expect this result in 13 days, or you were prepared for a month-long war or some ceasefire in United Nations or something?
No, our task was laid out. We were told that you have to do everything in a fortnight. This was the task, the job, which was agreed between Madam Gandhi and Manik Shaw, right? General Sam, it was agreed that we have to do it in fortnight, maximum 3 weeks. Okay? So this is the time frame. That is why we deployed so much of air power. We had to neutralize the air power, complete air superiority. Otherwise, the army doesn't move. The things don't happen on the ground so quickly. So we deployed a heavy air force against one and a half squadron of Pakistan, and we achieved it. Within 48 hours, they were grounded totally, zero or air operation from there on. So it was easy. Mind you, the 7th Fleet had moved in, was entering the Bay of Bengal. But I will not reveal the rest of the other things which are there, which had happened from the Eastern Bloc, etc.
It couldn't reach to the Bay of Bengal.
Yeah, they did. They were in the ocean there.
All right.
And we had our defenses worked out this side also, but I would not rather go into such details.
Right, sir. Rajiv has one more last question. Rajiv, please go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, sir, back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one question that has been in my mind for the last 1 week, or rather slightly before than that. There have been mentions in the international media as well and alternate media about a Chinese airfield killer glide cruise missile.
Repeat this, Ryan. Chinese?
A Chinese gliding cruise missile, which is mounted, which has been termed as an airfield killer.
No. You know what these missiles are? We have used this spike. It is. You know what? We have also done a retrofit on our bombs. Mm-hmm. It's a modification which is carried out. We carried out when we did Pulwama. The same thing happened there also in Balakot. So what it does is that you map the target from your satellite. Those information are fed, and you fine tune it on the bomb. Okay. So what you do is you fly high and release the bomb. Bomb glides. The higher the height, that much extra is the standoff.
Absolutely.
Bomb doesn't have its own power like a rocket. It glides. Okay, it got a wing which opens up. Now this bomb carries on. You fire in the general direction. Later on, the towards its own device takes on the guiding of the bomb. And as it goes into the cone, it tries to match that map which has been fed in the bomb itself.
Yeah,
When
tail
it
mapping.
matches, it knows what it to do. So this
Yes,
is
sir.
what probably he's talking about. And it's all right. It's the old technology. We have it. We know about it.
Yeah. So my follow-up question is that the scalpel or the stamp shadow the storm shadow variant that we have acquired for Raphael's, I believe that is equivalent to this so-called airfield killer that Chinese have been boasting about for the last 1 week.
I'm telling you, we used it in Balakot.
Oh, that's
So okay.
like we are way ahead then.
So just ignore it, right? We
Absolutely, sir.
used
Thank you
it
so
in
much.
Balakot. We have done that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right, sir. So
And
I
immediately
just
the other Meteor and the other one, the BVR, etc. Oh God, those weapons are amazing. Let them come. Let's settle down with it. We talk about it.
okay. Before giving it to the for the last leg to this conversation, I just want to read one message from Sandeep. He has sent a message for you, sir. Thank you for your services to the Mother India. Feel proud to hear from you. Sandeep is just telling you, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep. I like to be. I mean, let me put it in one line. Sandeep and the entire population of India, armed forces belongs to you. If you think we fight with the enemy at the border because he is enemy and we hate him, I'm sorry. We are there because of love of yours. So please be behind your forces. They are always for you. They will always stand by the nation. Where I always said earlier, तिरंगा लहराता है तो फौजी की सांसों से लहराता है और या तो हम दुश्मन की छाती में गाड़ के आते हैं या फिर उसमें हम लिपट कर घर आते
Thank you
हैं. That's
so
correct.
much, sir, for this enlightening session. Now, I would just pass the best into Vittal Chaudhary for the closure, and he has one last question for you, sir. Vittal, sir,
Sure.
can you take, please, sir?
Uh, Thank you for I'm again being I'll say that I'm being naive in asking this question because this question has been going on since I started using internet. Because the moment this border movie released, and we didn't have computers and internet at that point of time, but when I had, and I like to read a lot, and I use that internet searching on Longewala War and role of Air Force and all that, and I could see there was some controversy between Indian Air Forces and the armed forces saying who actually won you the Longewala. There are other controversies also. There are some people who say the Longewala never happened. It's all farce. Uh, but then there are a lot of things that they say about India that they never happen. So point is, just because you have fought that war, 1971. You are from Air Force. So, reminding it reminds me of the dialogue from the movie. "Hum hi hum hai to kaun hum hai?" So who won is the Longewala war? I know this is a very naive question.
Sorry, yaar, I've gone off this. The call comes at
So yeah, again,
Just
Ankit, if you know about it, then you should tell. Because I think this is very naive.
the sentence which you have
Yes,
used itself is the answer. हम ही हम है तो क्या हम है?
right. So sir is back. Yes, sir.
I will answer it. There must be a way to stop these incoming calls disrupting this conversation. However, uh, Logiwala, let me tell you, the person who was commanding was my flight commander earlier from Hashimara only. We called him Mini Baba. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So he retired as Air Marshal Baba. He was very much the station commander there, looking after Jaisalmer airfield. Let me tell you, it was definitely a show. In one line, if I put it, I'll tell you how. There's a one message which was intercepted by our guys, and his recording is available. It is in Hindi. Uh, the guy who's transmitting from the tank side, he says, ये हिंदुस्तान का जहाज आता है, 20-20 आधा घंटे सिर पे नाचता है, और हमको पता नहीं हम आ रहे हैं कि जा रहे हैं. वो एक आता है, दूसरा चला जाता है. You know what I mean? This is a message which has been taught. Now, can you imagine? I got a aerial shot picture with me. It is massive jalebi which has been made by the
Yes.
army tanks. This picture is available. We can show you.
Yes, I've seen that. It's
You've seen
online.
that.
It's available online also. Yes.
All right. So tell me, would the army be, if army was opposing, would the tanks will be making jalebis like that? They were running helter skelter. And let me tell you how it was found out. Many people don't know even about it, how it has happened. It is one of the sortie which Kuki Suresh and somebody else, I forget his name, they were on a mission, and when he happened to spot it in the returning flight in the evening. He said, there are massive tanks, man. And he saw the entire lot. He came back and reported. And then they were hunters can't fly at night. So they had to wait the entire night to attack them in the first light in the morning. Their plan was to breach Jaisalmer. Let me tell you, if they had breached Jaisalmer, they would have been in Delhi. It was a massive, perfect plan. Only thing which they failed, they did not provide the air cover to those tanks. Had they provided the air cover, the story would have been different. They were not provided by the air cover by the Pakistan. So we massacred those tanks from the air.
Uh, uh, as usual, whenever we talk to veterans, is all we can learn. A lot of self-discipline, a lot of patriotism. Uh, I would like to thank you on the behalf of Citizen of Forces here for being gracious enough to talk to our audience for this very enlightening session, and we look forward to celebrate when OROP is passed, and because we have been with you, and that is one thing we always pray that OROP should happen, uh, because you guys, because Indian Armed Forces deserve it. They don't just desire it. They deserve to be
And
OROP, and
I like to say to your viewers, if somebody thinks it is for money, they are mistaken. It is not money. Money, we don't have money. We have got money. We don't need money. But it is our right. If it is your right,
absolutely,
why should you be denied? That's the question.
absolutely,
So we
absolutely.
will not let this go past us. Not at all. We will definitely get it. Even if I don't get it in my lifetime, the next generation to come will get it. Those who are in uniform today, they will retire. At least they will get it. Somebody will benefit, but we will continue to strive for it and try and get it. We shall get it. That's for sure.
And I'm sure, like whatever Indian Armed Forces set out for, they always achieve it. OROP is going to be achieved by our armed forces and our veterans. With this note, sir, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks,
Thank
Rajiv
you.
and Ankit, and thank you, our audience. Jai Hind, sir. Namaskar.
Yeah.